One of the worst effects of trauma in childhood on your life as an adult today is in the area of romantic relationships. Who you feel attracted to, who you let into your life, what happens when you fall in love, how you form long-term relationships if you do. It can all become confusing and clunky and very, very painful. And I've said this before, childhood PTSD is an injury to your ability to connect with other people, and nowhere does this show up more clearly than in romantic relationships. I used to struggle horribly in this part of my life, and I never felt like there was enough help for people like me. And back then, I didn't know that every problem I was having was a classic symptom of early trauma in my past. There wasn't enough help. Now, I did recover, but it took me 30 years to figure some things out. And who knows what I have yet to figure out. But how I did this is, one day when things had gotten bad enough, and I'd repeated my pattern enough times to realize that it was a pattern. It wasn't just like a bad person or bad luck or a curse. And it wasn't likely to change unless some huge thing changed about me. I didn't know what it was yet. Well, I sought mentorship, and this is a long story for another video sometime, but there were 4 or 5 people with incredible wisdom, very different people, who helped me over a period of years to get clear what was a trauma-driven pattern in my relationships and how would I know when it was happening. Because if you know what's going wrong, you're halfway to finding a way to heal. So here's what I found. There are 20 signs that childhood PTSD may be affecting how you have relationships today. And remember, these don't only happen to people with trauma, but they're a lot more prevalent in people who were abused and neglected in childhood. And they tend to exist in little clusters. You might have several of these, not all of them probably, but little chunks of them. Are you ready? All right. Number 1, do you find yourself attracted to unavailable, destructive, or abusive people? Number 2, do you find yourself rushing into relationships, including having sex, living together, even getting married before you really know the person? Number 3, do you tend to avoid relationships altogether, even though you'd like to be in one? Number 4, do you habitually hide or lie about your true feelings for someone? 5, have you had a pattern of becoming obsessed with another person, especially in a limerent way, which means you pour in your fantasy and energy towards somebody who either doesn't know you exist or isn't interested in you? Number 6, have you ever lied to other people or hidden the true nature of a relationship you were in because you felt ashamed of the person you chose or of what was happening? Number 7, have you damaged relationships because of intense emotions or outbursts of sadness or jealousy or anger when it didn't seem appropriate? Number 8, have you fit yourself to people and situations that were actually unacceptable to you? Number 9, does the fear of abandonment or of being alone cause you to act irrationally? 10, do you cling to relationships even when you're not in love and not happy with the person? 11, do your relationships have an unusually high amount of arguing? 12, have you ever been in a relationship where there was violence? 13, have you found yourself saying yes to sex even when you knew it was dangerous or hurtful to yourself or others or likely to lead to an STD or unwanted pregnancy? 14, does sex trigger terrible feelings of panic and worthlessness or grief and overwhelm? 15, have you hooked up with so many people that you feel ashamed? 16, have you had a pattern of cheating on others or of choosing partners who cheat? 17, have you thought about or even attempted suicide because of a relationship or the loss of a relationship? 18, have you suffered from reproductive disorders like endometriosis or pelvic inflammatory disease? 19, when you're upset, is it hard for you to put your feelings into words? 20, do you often feel that no matter how much your partner tries to be there for you, you feel alone, or you feel unloved, or you feel unheard? People with complex PTSD can have happy relationships, and generally what it takes are tools to help you process the painful feelings that come up pretty much constantly in people who are romantically wounded, so that you can stop being identified with those hurts and bogged down by what happened to you. You need guidelines for how you want to now handle yourself around love and sex and commitment. And you need a community of supportive people who understand the healing path you're on and who are there for you to remind you that you're trying to heal and who you're trying to become. The way that you have relationships, if it's trauma-driven, I assure you healing is possible. I went through a whole process to learn how to change my life around it, and everything that I did, I document in a course I created for people who had trauma, who were struggling with similar issues. So if you answered yes to at least a few of the questions on this quiz, some people say yes to all 20. So somewhere in there, if you're in there, I have this course, you should check it out. It might be just right for you. I've put it right here. You can click on it, explore the details, and see if it's right for you. And I will see you very soon.